Good evening, and welcome to the Manchester Junior Senior High School Fall Sports Parent Meeting. First, let me say that I appreciate our community's patience and understanding as we continue to work together towards a safe reopening of athletics and academics at Manchester Community Schools. We've worked closely with the Wabash County Health Department, the Indiana Department of Education, and the Indiana High School Athletic Association in defining our ever-changing procedures, protocols, and best practices. Please note that throughout this entire process, the safety of our athletes, coaches, and trainers has been and will continue to be our top priority. I would also like to mention at this time that topics such as the governor's mask mandates, the crowd location and size adjustments, IHSA Phase 3 policies, and any other fluid guidance will be mentioned at a later date and a little bit closer to our home contest. However, we are thrilled to hear this week that the IHSA has decided to continue to move the process forward, and MCS athletes are starting our preparations for the 2020 and 2021 seasons. If you've been to any athletic presentation over the last few years, you know we've started a new tradition. I know we're recording our message tonight, but this tradition will continue. All right, are you ready? It's time to wake up the neighborhood. We are Squire Strong. We are Squire Strong. One more. We are. All right, good job. Thanks. Let's get this thing started here. All right. Hello and welcome again. Exciting year of Squire Athletics. I want to thank our parents and guardians for your effort and commitment in allowing your son or daughter to compete for our beloved Squires. Your sacrifices along the way are noted and much appreciated. We're kicking off the 2020-2021 season with our annual Fall Sports Parent Meeting. Tonight you're going to get a quick but thorough snapshot of the ins and outs of our athletic department. We'll lay out our vision and goals, talk to you about decision making and consequences that could come about. We'll assist you with some information about MCS and IHSA guidelines, also cover some paperwork and paperless paperwork that is required for participation. We'll also discuss some chain of command concerns, the importance of being involved, whether that's through the Booster Club or supporting our teams with attendance. We'll give you some valuable contact information, and finally, we'll leave you some final thoughts as we head into our season. All right, let's get started. Who are we? Our vision is simple, but it's tough to kind of carry out. We want to be that 50 teams covering over 20 sports, becoming one family. We want to build that within the Squire Strong culture. And we want to live this mantra out. We don't want it to just be words on a tweet or on the back of a t-shirt. We want to be that culture of togetherness. 50 teams, 20 sports, one family, Squire Strong, cohesive group culture. And so how do we get there? We feel there are two important goals that our athletic department kind of hangs its hat on. We want to maximize the student-athlete experience in all areas associated with athletics, and we want to work on development. We want to develop people. We want to develop individuals, and we want to develop our programs with a K through 12 attitude and focus. Our coaches are taught to engage in the teachable moments. I always kind of have a phrase that kind of comes up when I discuss this with our coaches. And it is, most teachers are coaches. And that's true if you look at teacher rosters. But all coaches are teachers. And I think that's important to remember. Throughout our vision and throughout our goals, it's important to remember one piece of information here, though. Participation in high school athletics is a privilege. Those who choose to participate will be expected to follow a series of code of conduct 24/7 and 365. This was established by our administration and other specific coach rules for their sport. Athletes represent their school and their student body. Athletes are to conduct themselves in a manner that is becoming of them, their family, MCS, and the community. There are policies and regulations and thus consequences when these rules are broken. The conduct of participants in athletics at Manchester Junior Senior High School in and out of school year-round shall be as such, not to reflect discredit upon our school, and not to create disruptive influence on the discipline, good order, moral, or educational environment in our school. Any such misconduct violating these principles shall be subject to disciplinary measures. Oops, I think I went too far there. Our athletic handbook lays out the details to the 6 types of code of conduct violations. Please access this through our athletic webpage. There is also the link here in the slideshow. Please check this out. Oops. I will tell you, despite the large amount of reading material in the handbook, the violations typically come down to 3 top high school problems. I want to spend a little bit of time on the top 2 here, but they are cell phones, social media, tweets and texting, intimidation, hazing, and bullying. It's kind of phase 2. And the third one is the drug and tobacco and alcohol abuse. Looking at the cell phone, we have a cell phone and camera policy that I need everyone to be aware of. All cell phones and cameras of any device are to be secured unseen within any Manchester Junior Senior High School locker room and restroom. This applies to all athletic-related participants, managers, coaches, and players. I do have a few stories to share with this, but I'm not going to I'll spare you the details tonight. But I have seen a young man's life completely changed because he was filming a classmate screwing around, dancing in the locker room, being unaware of what was at the top of the screen. So please talk to your student athletes about the conduct in the locker room and the restroom with our cell phone policy. To continue with this, we also see situations with student athletes are responsible for information contained in written or electronic transmissions and any information posted on a public forum domain. Your Facebook, your Twitter, Instagram, your Snapchats, your YouTubes, your TikToks, whatever else you guys got going on. Any inappropriate, ill-meaning, or derogatory material shall not be posted in any public domain and may be subject to school and legal disciplinary action. Again, continuing with social media, texting, and tweets. Texting, tweeting, and the use of other social networks to disparage or criticize the team or other students, opponents, coaches, or any other school personnel will be deemed conduct unbecoming of a Manchester student athlete. Any individual identified on a social network site which depicts illegal behavior, will be considered in violation and may be subject to an athletic, school, or legal disciplinary action. It still continues to amaze me how many stories you hear about colleges who are withdrawing scholarships due to high school social media behavior. The other one I want to look at here is hazing and bullying. MCS will comply with the provisions of the House Bill 1423 anti-bully legislation. This will include parameters for investigating, reporting, and providing follow-up services to complaints alleging bullying behavior. Students' parents who have complaints regarding bullying shall notify MCS teachers, coaches, and administrators immediately. Okay, we're getting somewhat out of the nasty stuff. Let's get you some information. The athletic department does not provide insurance coverage for student athletes. However, the IHSAA does carry catastrophic insurance to cover major injuries occurred during participation in IHSAA sport programs. Speaking of injuries, we have a great athletic training department. Our training room is for treatment and rehabilitation of injuries. Parkview Sports Medicine has been a tremendous partner over the last few years and has provided a certified athletic trainer for us in our athletic program. His name is Kevin Watson. Many of you guys are familiar with him, and we're very fortunate to have someone the caliber of Kevin working on our student athletes at a school our size. He is busy, so make sure you keep your scheduled times and appointments. He also will start a series of what's known as impact testing. This is to develop baseline information when dealing with concussions. His contact information is there below as well. Speaking of concussions, beginning on July 1st, 2012, it is an Indiana state law that athletes and parents must be given concussion information. You can find this on our athletic webpage, but more importantly, this is also one of the final forms that you signed electronically or digitally. So please make sure you read those documents before you sign them. Another area to be concerned about or to make sure you have information on is cardiac arrest. Beginning on July 1 of 2015, it is an Indiana state law that athletes and parents must be given cardiac information and sign a form that they have received information pertaining to cardiac arrest and that their student athlete could experience cardiac arrest due to participation in particular sports. Once again, this information can be found on our webpage, and it is another final form that you need to read through before you sign. In addition to with this, you'll also see that coaches, when they conduct their meetings here in the next week, will go over a risk statement. Coaches are directed to instruct athletes in a safe and proper techniques of their sport. However, due to the nature of athletic activity, injury and even death may occur. Okay, shifting gears once again. Let's now talk about requirements to participate in the changes that have occurred. We're talking about our physical forms here and our final forms. First, the physicals have about 3 parts. They have 3 parts: the history form, the actual physical examination form, and the consent and release form. And I have an asterisk here indicating that the IHSAA, which many of you are aware, is allowing the 2019-2020 physical to stand for the 2020-2021 year. However, you cannot just simply say, I want to use last year's physical. There's actually a packet of information, or what I would call our COVID documents or COVID paperwork, that you have to fill out and in writing indicate that you'd like to use last year's physical. Accompanying that paper is an updated IHSA questionnaire asking you a few questions. If you answer yes, you need to go get a new physical. There's also a new Parkview Sports Medicine paper. There's a new form there that has now a COVID clause that needs to be signed. And also there's a new consent and release form. So that's just kind of phase 1. I will say that this has worked, this has been great. Our families have done a great job with this. I have over 200 and some athletes already ready to go. They're in green is what we call it on final forms, which is fantastic. So thank you guys. But the emergency medical card, athletic responsibility acknowledgement, the Parkview form, concussion and cardiac arrest, which was mentioned earlier, are all now on final forms. Please check that website and sign those, read those over, and fill those out with your digital signatures. This is the third fall season using final forms. I think things are going much more smoothly than previous. I will attempt to have some Chromebooks just in case we have some problems in the first few weeks of school, or we'll try and help no matter what you need. Please just reach out to us and we'll help you. Another hot topic lately is eligibility. And the IHSAA has released a new policy here, and I'd like to kind of read that to you today. Here's a look at that guidance from the IHSAA. Virtual options and athletic participation in the fall. Scenario 1. If a school is offering virtual distant learning, e-learning, or online courses taught by the member school personnel, a student athlete can attend 100% of the day virtually and still participate in education-based athletics. However, local controlled decision-making can set a requirement above this standard. We will follow the IHSA guidelines here. Scenario 2, if a third party is delivering the instruction to our students, which is defined as teachers not employed by our school corporation, and that percentage of courses being taught of a third party is over 30% of the total number of courses offered in a semester, a waiver is required from the IHSAA. This waiver is for the school, not the individual. So that's kind of on us. We need to make sure we work through if you're doing kind of maybe a hybrid model. We just need to see who is doing the instructing. Because if it is a third-party instructor, that kind of changes the rules. Scenario 3, If a student athlete is attending a non-public virtual school full-time in the fall, the IHSA bylaws 12-6 are still applicable. This kind of falls back into the normal domain of virtual school, and I will say the criteria to participate does become more difficult. But to continue with eligibility here at Manchester, you have to pass at least 5 full credits. High school final grades from the previous year do carry over to the fall, and we do send out eligibility lists. Student athletes at Manchester Junior Senior High School must have attended all classes that day or the day before in the case of Saturday contest. I will say that we will try and maintain these rules, but we will have to have a little more flexibility due to the COVID response in 2020, 2021. Another area to talk about is athletic fees. Each athlete is required to pay $15 activity fee per season they compete. This must be paid prior to the first away contest, or they cannot travel to that event. Another fee that we're looking into is locks, but not this season, not this year. Coaches will issue all locks and collect them at the end of the year. Transportation. We're still working through some of our athletic transportation changes at this time. And this is typically when I give you my big spiel about how riding the school transportation and riding home from events is all about building that team culture, and it helps us become part of that one family. However, I know I'm going to have to back away a little bit from my spiel. We will be much more flexible with our COVID response in 2020, 2021. However, if you are going to use your parents as transportation, we do need forms signed, and your coaches will have these forms. If you're going to go with another parent or friend, this alternative authorization form must be filled out prior to departure. So make sure you're communicating with your coaches. We will make sure that they have the forms ready for you. Another area I'd like to talk about tonight is chain of command. This is for myself, coaches, the community. Coaches have been taught to be approachable, to extend that hand to someone in need, and we will listen. And this chain of command is established to get the best results possible through the proper and collective discussions. It is as followed. Athletes should talk to their coach. Parents should then set up a meeting with the coach and athlete. And finally, parents should contact the athletic director if needed to meet with the coach, parent, and athlete. Please use the chain of command. All right, we're moving right along. Now let's get into some of the good stuff, the positive things here. The Booster Club. The Manchester Athletic Booster Club provides important benefits to all athletes at Manchester Junior Senior High School. It is our hope that parents of student athletes will become members of our Booster Club. 50 teams, 20 sports, one family, we are Squire Strong. This is what the Booster Club represents. We are under new leadership, and they've already established some new criteria and new ways to get more involvement. You'll hear some more information coming from them very soon. Okay, punch passes. If you can't always attend or be a part of our Booster Club, but we still would love your support to attend our contest. We do have a punch pass system that will continue. Student punch passes are $15 for 10 events. Senior citizens, $20 for 10. And adult punch passes are $30 for 10 events. County, conference, and IHSA tournaments are not covered by the passes. This is a significant discount. These are, if you look at it, 10 events at $5 a piece, it's $50, so your student pass is 70% off. 60% off for your senior citizens and 40% off for your adults. So all these funds goes right back into our programs. Another exciting day to talk about is Media Day. We've established Media Day as Monday, August 10th for our high school fall sports. Our junior high sports will be starting up about that time, so they will have an alternative Picture Day, Media Day. Some other dates to look at and maybe remember here. These are tentative for a lot of reasons, but the winter fall sports meeting. I'm sorry, that shouldn't say fall in there. I'm sorry. That is winter parent meeting. The winter sports parent meeting is October 26th. The fall sports award is November 12th. Once again, the winter parent sports meeting is October 26th, and the fall sports awards will be November 12th. Again, tentative. Sorry about the typo. Here are some websites and contact information or the ways to follow our student athletes. I think we've done a nice job on social media with the promotion of our student athletes, and I encourage you to follow them at Facebook, Twitter, the athletic page as well. Please support our local media as well. They do a fantastic job covering our school our size. Some other contact information here. There's the athletic office, my email, Joe Kerr, the real boss. She will take care of you. Whatever you need, she will get you in the right position to get that answered for you. A couple other things before I kind of wrap up here. One thing I want to definitely share during this time is to continue to kind of work on our sportsmanship. Athletic administrator ejections have been down in the IHSA. Coaches' ejections are down. Player technicals, yellow cards ejections are down. Yet fan and spectator ejections are up through the roof. So I encourage our audience here, our parents, our community, to be Squire strong and to be good sports. One quick look at the 2019-2020 season is that we kept a 7-year streak of over 100 points on the IHSA sportsmanship program. We finished with 109 points, which did include an ejection and no spring sports, but we did an excellent job again being exemplary and in the over 100 points here. Let's keep this going, and let's make the 2020-2021 just as successful. Finally, typically at this point of our fall parent meeting, we have broken up into breakout sessions around the school. For obvious reasons, we cannot do that this year. Team meetings will be on our coaches during week 1. They're in the process of setting these up right now. Team meetings will cover a more detailed look at some of these topics and look at more sport-specific rules that apply. We hope you can attend. We need you to attend. And don't forget, 50 teams, 20 sports, 1 family. We are Squire Strong. That is who we are. Thank you.